This conference will now be recorded.
We're gonna pick up with his questions.
Yes. Yeah, I just was put out there for.
All right, just so people understand. Let me know when you're ready, Sherry. Yeah, that's where we're gonna start.
And someone has someone over.
Apple. Hammer boss.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we're now back in session, please. We're gonna start with Mr. Coleman, had some questions about facilities, I believe.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
I'm just looking at facilities. Got windows for 88 grand, paint the town hall 10 grand, replace the carpet for 20 grand, repair shutters and change the doors in town hall for a grand total of 143,000. I'm just questioning if we really need to do this now, what really needs to be done, and what can be wait for a different time. We can't hire 2 police officers and we're spending 143 grand on stuff that might still be good.
We are actually using one-time fund balance for these items. It's their capital replacement.
And which means what? It's still using money, right?
One-time money that you can only use for one-time items. You can't use it for recurring salaries. This is your fund balance.
Could the money, oh, sorry.
Michelle?
Could the money be used somewhere else?
You could use it for one-time items.
I just think, when you say shutters, didn't it say hurricane shutters?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I could get Eric up here, the supervisor of facilities.
Absolutely.
And I believe some of these items have been budgeted over the last couple of years and been pushed off. So I'll let Eric.
Because when you go into this, I'd like to understand why you need hurricane shutters across the highway if it's not in a flood zone.
Originally, we were supposed to get Originally, we were gonna have hurricane shutters put on the building before we moved in. But there was a rush to get everybody over there. So we decided to hold off. And each year, we've been talking about that, putting hurricane shutters on. To me, if you guys want hurricane shutters, put them on. If you don't, we don't have to have them. Now, what we had been talking, I mean, it's a government building. Something happens to the windows, there's a lot of computers and things like that in there. But to me, I would say wherever you feel best to use the money in the town, that's fine. It's been put off now for, 3 years maybe. So, but that's, yeah,
Mr. Mayor.
that's what I would say with the
While
hurricane.
he's looking through there.
Okay, Mr. Kreckloff.
On the, if we're going to replace windows though, aren't they gonna be hurricane-proof
So-
windows?
So that's what when I say we, Mr. Vincent and I and Finance Department, that's what we are discussing. Instead of spending the, like $35,000 on hurricane shutters, we also have broken windows in the building. And so if you were putting that expense to add shutters plus windows, we were saying that it might just be better for a little bit more money just to go ahead and replace all the windows with impact resistant windows and not worry about the shutters. And also it would repair the broken glass, and it would just be a better idea.
Okay, thank you.
Is the 88K impact resistant windows?
So I was having a very hard time finding anyone to give me any type of prices on windows. We do have to put an RFP out there, which we're gonna be working on here soon. So that 88,000 was some research from online on how much it is per window times 58 windows, or I think on here we put 56, but I think there's 58 windows. So 1,600 times 50, I think it's on here, 56 windows is how we came up with that price. But we have not put an RFP out yet for the windows. We have several moon shape or half moon windows, and we have, just the regular windows. By the way, the windows don't open, and I know that it's been a constant thing with the employees that they're asking, if we do replace the windows, please get windows that open. So they are shut, because people talk about that, in case of emergency.
Okay.
But that's neither here nor there.
But with this cost estimate, that's assuming impact resistant?
Yes,
Okay.
the 80,000, I think that's what the cost was. For the 88,000, that was an estimate that I believe is going to be pretty accurate. It should, that would be for new impact resistant glass for windows. And we would not need to have the storm shutters in that case.
Okay. So it would seem like we could knock out the hurricane shutters at that point because of the impact.
Right, yeah, that,
Yes.
Don't need
originally we were talking about different options, and then we kind of came up with the idea of, let's not just replace windows and then replace shutters, let's do everything in one.
And the building that used to be over there, it's kind of neglected. There wasn't much maintenance done on it. for
The
years.
previous
Yes.
town hall, yes.
Yeah.
Are you asking if it had shutters?
No, I'm saying, we didn't really maintain that building.
No, that's correct. And,
We don't want to repeat that.
yeah, that's one of the things that, for the painting of the town hall, there are different areas that there is rot occurring, and we really need to take care of that rot. And also, we need to go ahead and paint it. You need to maintain things, and you have to paint them, because the painting also helps seal them. You go through and caulk everything, you paint it.
Yeah, I've done that.
So, yeah, and that's something else that's been getting put off on every year. And I understand every year we have to make some different cuts, but actually, I want to mention that the painting, we're gonna have some of that work done hopefully this year. There was some money left over in the budget. I'm gonna mention this because I know on here, I hope you guys will be happy. On here, we have doors for town hall, that was $10,000. And I'm gonna have that done this year. So we will not need that $10,000 in the budget for next year, as long as everything gets done. But we did find a company, and they're going to do the work. I am going to have some painting done on town hall, but there are some other things of sealing the building, because there's a lot of vinyl siding. They have to seal and do some insulating. So there's still going to be some cost, but some of that cost is going to be done. So it may not be $10,000 at the end, is what I'm saying, for next budget.
Ms. Mayor, you'll notice that, there's money in the budget for the carpet, so we've replaced 3 stairwells. And then Eric, when he had Jamie with him, they'd take one office at a time, move the furniture out, and painting town hall to match the same color throughout. So we've made some great strides just with our own personnel.
So do we need to do more carpet? Does all of it have to be done?
So
I've heard that question raised.
that's another thing that each year, it's also been being pushed off. There were some troubled areas that I really felt uncomfortable with, and we addressed those. And those were the stairs where they were wearing through, and I was afraid that they were gonna start tearing, causing trip hazards. Mr. Vincent and there was some money in the budget for facilities, and we went ahead and we changed the carpet on the stairs. There are several worn spots where the tape and stuff has just come undone. It was done in '98, so the carpet has lived a great life. Well, maybe not so great now, but, so we were hoping to maybe, I've been trying to go through and patch, because I found some carpet up in the attic. So as you walk around, you're gonna see sections where they're just cut out and have some carpet, and the carpet's a different height. It's pretty badly worn, so I'm really hoping to maybe get it before someone maybe gets hurt or something. But if we need to push it back another year, then so be it. But it's really getting pretty bad.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Stabey?
was there any money in the budget put in for that building when we bought the building?
Yes, there was. We actually still had, well, I don't remember the exact numbers, but there was quite a bit of money left to do work. Like I said, we were gonna do the shutters, we were talking about carpeting and painting, but we were gonna wait until after we moved in to do those things. Because they needed to get everybody out of this area to get them into that area because of safety. With that being said, as soon as we moved in, you probably remember, there was immediately a stop put on everything where I wasn't to spend any more money on the buildings. So when that was done, it wasn't really the money. Thankfully, Mr. Vincent, we talked and he's like, we need to start maintaining this building. So even though it was kind of being pushed aside a little bit, he said, let's go ahead and start maintaining this building. So that's why we're moving ahead on the doors and trying to get the windows fixed. And
But wasn't that money budgeted in when we built?
yeah, but it was stopped.
It was stopped, just put on hold?
Yeah, it was put on hold. Yeah, because there was so much talk, there was just a lot of talk on what was happening, so the building ended up kind of suffering.
Yeah.
And the longer we left it go, the worse it was getting, so.
Yes, sir. That's the same way it happens with all our buildings in town. It's just not that, it's been all of the fire department too.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Coleman?
can you explain the $10,000 for rental of a generator?
Okay, so in order, if there would be a storm, we had to rent a generator, it's pretty expensive. And basically that $10,000 will help us maybe to run it, we'll say, maybe, I think it's like 2 weeks. Not even running it, because in order to say that, hey, we know there's a storm moving in, so there's a named storm. Now we call for the generator maybe a couple days prior. Well, they're not gonna have it because I'm gonna name different communities, maybe Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, all, different areas they get the same size generators we need. So, and that also, there's also like truck fees and stuff, because we're talking massive generator for that building. So in order to be able to hold it, we have to call a week prior. So we don't even know if the storm's gonna get here. We're trying to, I'm gonna call it maybe that we're kind of gambling a little bit. Like we have to guess, is this storm gonna hit us? And if so, we're gonna need a generator. So then we have to secure it. So we're paying for this generator, even though it hasn't been delivered, or, we're paying for it, yeah. So that's why I went ahead and put it at $10,000, because we may need to rent it a week before we even get it here on site.
Yeah, do you know how much it costs to have generators you can then install at your building. What's the difference?
So, yeah, so, are you referring to get a permanent generator?
Yeah, like for a house, you would get a Generac or something like that.
So the generator size that we need for that building is like the one that we have out here, the one that we still use for the civic center and the police department. And we had talked about maybe trying to move that over there, but it's an old generator, and in the end, it wasn't going to be as cost efficient for us. If I'm not mistaken, because I put it in the budget for the previous year, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be between 75 and 85,000. So to have a permanent generator, I think it was right around the 85,000, but I'm not 100% sure. But yes, it was to have a generator installed over town hall, it would be right around that figure. And basically it was looked at and said, okay, we'll gamble with the $10,000. But if we are choosing that to maybe be a permanent home and for us for a few years, it might be something that we should maybe look at and say, maybe it'd be better just to go ahead and do this. But until then.
Because it seems like, I mean, I'm fine with the building over there.
Yeah.
But with putting all this money into it, it seems like that's the way it's going to be.
That's
how
why
it's going to stay there.
Too.
And we're not going to put it over here, even though people think we are. But I don't know, if it's going to be a permanent place, we should put something permanent there. I mean, how long is this generator over here? How old is that, you know?
I don't remember. I did know at one time. It's
10, 20 years?
It was before my time.
Okay.
So Director John might have an idea.
Before my time.
Yeah.
Well, it was here-
Yeah.
He was here before you got here.
Yeah.
Correct.
And you were here, what, 15 years?
14.
14 years.
Yeah. So I know, it's well taken care of.
Right.
It's in good shape to leave here, but to
Right.
start moving it, because then there's switches and we were talking about moving that and then buying a switch, because in order for a generator to switch over, you need to have like a switch, and it's like kind of like a big box power plant type of thing, you know, and so there's still going to be a lot of cost.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Krecklau.
Well, I know Kenny joined the military or government surplus.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
generators on there all the time.
And we got one.
Oh, okay.
So I'll tell you that story. Kenny did. He found one and he got it. And it was they said it was one of the best generators, I mean, that they had seen. It came in really good shape. And so we were excited, and we purchased a switch. The company said that it would run town hall for I think it was going to be certain areas of town. We were going to try to get it down. Well, in the end, it keeps on blowing the fuse on the generator. It's not strong enough because we were trying just to keep our server room, and then maybe a few lights on, and it didn't have the power. And but anyway, so that was an option, and we were trying to look for a bigger generator. And it's probably as long as that table, or, you know, maybe a little bit shorter, but you get an idea. It's pretty massive on a trailer. But we were looking into that, trying to find something. And then there's going to be, because we thought that $10,000, it could also go into the cost of fixing the generator if we found one. So,
And I do know that a lot of stuff that shows up on there, you can go to wherever it's being sold. And a lot of the stuff is being sold up in North Carolina. And the military gets rid of stuff that they don't even use sometimes. You can find one that's crated, ready to go. Now, those are gonna be in hot demand, and
well,
you
that's
have to
going to be
jump on
something
it.
I'll mention to you, that when we were looking into these things and some of the things that we were picking up, you literally, when you do the paperwork, you have to go just about the same day or the day of. And even then, I remember we were trying to get something and someone had already stripped it down. Like, because you go in there, you need maybe an alternator. People apparently just pick the generator or whatever they need off of, the parts. So they're very hard, and that's why we were like, well, maybe we can, even if we don't use this money to rent, maybe we can use it to fix up something that maybe we can get. So there are different options that we are trying. I know that we are trying to work on what to do for options.
I mean, I just think that's one item that you can save a lot on, but it is tough to
Yeah.
find one that's in usable
Yeah.
condition. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they more or less give it to you.
Just call it. Just trying to figure out. So you were thinking about getting shutters and the windows, or shutters all the windows?
No, I think we decided we're gonna do our best just to get the impact resistant windows. And that's, now there might be something on here because the decorative shutters, yeah, that's where I was trying to find if maybe that's what we're seeing, because are you looking at, what line item are you looking at?
Well, it had windows, and then on below it, I can't read it, so small.
Yeah, okay, I see it here.
385, and then it says
So-
repair shutters.
Repair shutters.
But you mentioned
okay.
shutters when you first got up, thinking
Yeah.
about getting shutters.
So,
It's not gonna be 15,000 for shutters, right?
no, I repairing shutters here, what that was referring to are decorative shutters, and I'm not sure, it says fix rough wood, repair holes in the plywood, siding, shutters. So the decorative shutters, I was putting in with the painting. I see that we have painting town hall 10,000, and then we have, but anyways, there are decorative shutters on the building, and a lot of them have blown off just from storms and stuff like that. And there's holes where those shutters, how they used to be held on. So I'm looking to pull the siding back, put membrane over the holes, so not to caulk them, but to membrane them, and to seal up around our air conditioning or just different places. And I was expecting that to be with talking. I had talked to a couple of different people, and I'm looking between 10 to 15,000. But that was also, I believe that might be including some painting. I'd have to look back in my notes. I apologize, but I don't think that we need to have the doors. We don't have to worry about the 10,000 for the doors. That's going to be done. And the repairing shutters and painting, we are getting the painting done this year, and all that we'll have left is like sealing up all the different little holes and stuff like that around the air conditioners and I'm not thinking of everything right. Oh, the sealing of the old holes for the old shutters and putting new shutters on. So those shutters are different from storm shutters. They're for the appearance of the place. That's all they serve, is just to make it look nicer.
I have no problem doing all this, but this is gonna be town hall. Put a lot of money into something, we already spent a lot of money already, right?
Well, I just, when I got there 11 months ago, Eric was just saying we've been kicking the can down the road to fix things. The problem there is with town hall, if we don't fix them now, they're gonna get worse. So, my opinion, I think is like the rest of you, we're going to be in town hall for quite some time, so we need to take care of our investment.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Shaw?
soon as you say the word decorative, I think we need to get away.
Yeah,
Plain old shutters will be just
I
fine.
knew that would, but the thing is I don't know, maybe we just take off all the shutters and have it, and then it's just a big white building or.
I mean, I
could
don't
we-
mind shutters, we all have shutters, but
Right.
saying the word decorative, It cost me, and I had somebody do them for me, put little pineapples in my shutters, and it was expensive.
Well,
So-
I am looking just to do a basic, we're gonna
Okay.
keep the same color if I'm not mistaken. We're just gonna keep the same basic blue
Mhm.
and put them up there. I was hoping to replace some of them and leave some of them, but they're so badly worn and the color is so faded. And frankly, they're just cracking. They're so brittle. So we were looking to,
And that's
Up-
fine, but I
updated.
just, the decorative thing has to go
Yeah.
away to me. And the other thing, when you're saying painting, we're just gonna paint the walls, we're not gonna put any other additional,
I'm talking primarily the exterior. This is all
Oh,
exterior
exterior,
painting. Yeah, we're
okay.
looking to just paint it white again. The columns and now we will continue to work in town hall as far as painting off the offices, the gray that we've been using. And that's just basic. We're just cleaning up the walls and putting a new coat of paint on them. No, oh, you're referring to murals and stuff?
Yes.
No, I don't do
no
that.
more.
Any other facilities questions?
And this was all just about town hall, these, for this, so.
Okay.
That's all we have.
Mr. Stain?
So we have no other plans for any other buildings? Is this just for town hall? It ain't for,
Everything you just asked me was for town hall.
okay. Or what's the plans for Martin Park? If you had, y'all still come up with the plans of trying to tear that building down or remodeling that building, or what do you plan?
What is that?
The
Floral clubhouse?
Yeah,
clubhouse?
I know that, it was my understanding from the last budget that it was to be torn down, and I believe that we decided not to go with the company that I'm not sure how that was supposed to work, but I know that it was said that it was gonna be torn down.
So we have no money in the budget to try to go there and fix it. I mean, I understood that it was gonna be torn down too. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be torn down right after this building up here, because we had done reached the maximum money that we could put in that building. We couldn't get,
Right, correct.
because of the,
There were several repairs that needed to be done on that building, and when the inspector got into it and we looked underneath the building and so forth, the wiring is shot. Rats have torn up all the air conditioning ductwork. It's been just a building sitting next to the lake, and it's kind of had a rough, I don't know what to say with that.
I
It's been
understand
a
where you're
rough
trying to come
place,
from,
so.
what I'm asking you.
And it was gonna cost a lot of money, so what we found out is we were only gonna be able to put so much money into it, every so many years. And I don't know the exact amount. It seems to me it was like, I think we were told like $3,000 or $4,000 over a period of 4 years, and we had already exhausted. We actually went beyond the amount. And
That's
and
my
at the time, thankfully, we were able to talk to the FEMA and explain that, and they just said, you can't do any more work on this building for X amount of years. And so now it's just sitting there again. So every time we let it sit, yeah, so it's something like we'll never be able to get it back up to being able
Can
to
we
use.
not get our domain, John's department to take that building down?
That would be something that John would have to talk about. I'm not sure.
You should just say, yeah, John can do it.
Oh, I know he could do it. I have no doubt.
If we,
No, I'm just kidding.
if so directed.
Yeah.
So directed.
Would that not be a cheaper option than just setting over and wasting away? Then get it out of the way and put something else in there?
do it for $25.
Those are, right now, it's,
We don't have no money for it.
right now, yeah, we're not able to rent it out. I will tell you that I do have, the only place that I have to store anything, so I do use it as a storage facility, but I know that that storage facility will end up, being taken down, so I can move that stuff out of there at any moment.
So Mr. Stingley, yes, to your
Yeah,
question.
thank you.
That is
Yeah,
the
it's not
cheapest
being
option.
used
I think
for
that's what
anything.
we
Yeah,
ought to pursue if we're gonna do anything.
yeah.
How about any of the other buildings?
What would
Do
you
we
like to
need-
know?
Do we need any more maintenance on the fire department, or do we need any more maintenance on Tom's building? Or do we need any more maintenance out at Martinsville, out there where you pull down his place and never put back a building or anything out there for tractors? Do we need some of that stuff too?
So, Mr. Davy, yes, we've got in capital improvements for hospitality for the fire department. We're looking at the rain gutters, paint exterior of the fire station. We're looking at fixing the bay doors in the motor, bay doors in the springs, bay door inspections, and then strip and wax the interior floors.
Yeah. Exactly what he said. We
Just
are,
looking at brevity here.
yeah. So that's, yeah, we're trying to move forward and, on all that stuff as well. Trying to get that stuff.
How about Tom's building?
I'm sorry?
Do you look after Tom's building too?
Yes.
How about it? We in maintenance on it?
John and I, how we work? No, he calls me whenever he has any needs.
Yeah.
I know that, I know we had looked into doing some work on his floors and, doing some painting on the inside and things like that. I don't know, right now where we stand with that, but, yeah, we have talked about trying to do some things in there.
I figured it needed maintenance done on that too.
So, but you're right, like with Browns, we had talked about, when we tore it down, we were looking at putting up another building. Right now, they're working out of a couple different areas, having to tow they're working out of pods or storage units.
There's
So-
rental pods to it, aren't they?
I'm not sure, he may know, I don't know if we ended up purchasing them or not.
Rental pods, John, or you purchased it pods?
We have three 40-foot containers out of Huckabee that we're using for storage
Rentals or yours?
rental.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Coleman,
Mr. Vincent, can you just tell us, how much it's the repairs for the fire department?
It's 115.5.
I just want everyone to know that it's another thing with the fire department.
any other facilities questions? All right, I think we're moving on.
Thank you, Eric.
Nice
job,
Eric. So you said you were basically done with presenting.
Yes, sir.
I guess, any last wrap-up questions that we want to, or discussion that we want to have here, plan going forward, et cetera?
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Shaw?
I have a question for finance. In your budget, you have 3 desks for $9,600. Where do you go to buy the furniture?
Eric had,
A lot.
Talata come give the quote.
What is that, a furniture company?
Yes.
Why are we not buying surplus furniture? Like, the government has a place where you can buy surplus. Just saying, how many desks is this? 3 desks for $10,000, almost $10,000?
But it's for a specific size. The offices are pretty small, so they have to make it then.
I still don't know why we're not using government surplus.
I don't have a quote with me. Their quotes,
Okay.
I thought they were.
Talata is who we've always used.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
Talata is.
We use Talata furniture. Yeah, we've used them before my time.
Okay.
When I came in, or when I was needing furniture, I found out that we've been using Talata, so I called them up and we get really, I mean, they take care of us really well. Like, we had, some chairs that had an issue. I called him up. He just immediately came, took the chairs and gave us 2 new ones. But that's how they've been with the furniture. But yeah,
Yes.
So we're not going across the street at Home Max and buying from.
they are local. I believe they're off of 544. So
And this is also furniture for the new position, or not the new position, but the funded position for a senior accountant. So this is desk and information, desk and files and everything for her, or him in there. Even though we really can't, trying to find space for this employee. We have a lot of storage within that town hall. So we're trying to move things to keep them all in the same area.
I'm sorry, can you speak up, sir? I don't mean to be rude.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We can't hear you.
Okay, well, this is for the, we've had a senior accountant position before, but this fiscal year was unfunded. So this money for the furniture includes this position as well, because there is nothing there for that position.
So it's one position, 3 desks? That's how,
No,
It's 3 offices that need to be redone. And the desks also include the storage, because those offices are so small that they have nowhere to put their files and stuff. So this would actually give them more desk space and places up above to put their files. And I'm looking at my budget to see if I can fund one this year and then take one out of next year. So I'm hoping to have some savings in my budget this year, where we could just go ahead and move forward with one of them.
But that is basically the going price for office furniture.
yeah.
I have another question, Mayor.
Got
The Thanksgiving gift cards, what is that? I don't understand, $2,600 under finance?
yeah, so we give each employee a $50 gift card for Thanksgiving.
30.
I'm not, right,
Those were moved to admin budget too.
Oh, I must have been looking. Once again, looking at stuff to cut, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I never got a Thanksgiving gift card. Thanksgiving gift card, awards, getting a 5% COLA, a Christmas luncheon. We used to have to do potlucks. I mean, I just don't know, and believe me, I like our employees. But again, we got people living on a fixed income, and these employees get a salary, plus they get all these other perks. And I'm telling you, we had to do potlucks, and we had to chip in for flowers or awards. This is just an automatic. And I know people just think I'm going on and on about this, but I think these prices are ridiculous. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. We have a lot of citizens in this town that would rather see this money put into our public safety, the police, and the fire department.
All right, any other
$30.
comments? Just general last budget items. Are we ready to move on? I mean, can we put this in a first reading, or do we still need to discuss some of this? Budget.
The budget.
I would just like to see, the COLA, they can get back to us, but before,
Okay.
I'd like just for information, make a sound decision.
We got that.
And that's gonna be later this week?
Yeah,
Okay. But we need to give Mr. Vincent direction to, bring this forward, again for further discussion or for a first reading. So if we want to continue to, look at these items, then we're gonna need to do another workshop or special meeting or something. Or if we're telling him to go ahead and put it together, we can give that direction as well. So I wanna know what people are thinking about that without polling.
Well, I have a recommendation
Ms. Shaw, go ahead.
to request to look at the quotas, not quotas, the COLAs, 5%, 4%, 3%. And the gift cards and the awards and the uniforms. I think across the board, we need different numbers. So can we have a consensus and vote for them to look at that? Do we have to have a vote for that?
If we want to move to the first reading, I think we're going to need to know exactly what we want to do, or we can just have them bring back another workshop or special meeting. I don't think we need a vote for that. It's just a matter of how ready do we think we are.
I don't think we're ready.
Any other comments on how people would like to proceed?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Stamey?
I think I'd like to see it proceed with him putting together what we've talked about today and bring it back for us for another look at it before we have first reading of it. I think that would be a good idea to go ahead and get us a line to look at, then have another small workshop, maybe not as big, just small, make sure everything is suitable for everybody.
Any other comments? I think it makes sense. It seems like, the general sense here is that we're not quite ready. That's my take on the situation. So I think another session, lasering in, I guess, to these last items that have come up today would be good. Any other comments on the budget? I got the agenda right here. At this point then, we are moving to public comment. Huh? Oh, you do still?
yeah, we'll do chapter 2 and 4.
Well, we have public comment
Oh, yeah.
inserted here for budget only. Yeah, that's, I guess that's how you inserted it, right? This is to talk about. Yeah, okay. Is there any public comment on what we've covered? Or I suppose you could talk about chapter 4 or 2 if it's coming up.
May I?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Come on up.
Tim Courtney, South Poplar Drive. I've been in this town for approximately 15 years. And, this meeting was called to double down on spending and called about public safety, hiring firefighters and police officers, et cetera. And then we went off into buying new carpet and new shutters for the new building. When I worked for government, spent many years in government, we didn't have carpet in buildings. We had regular floors. We didn't have shutters on the windows. That was day-to-day maintenance. Generator, I'm gonna tell you something about a generator. I was here through Matthew when that pier came down. Nobody was here. There was 2 council members here, maybe 3. Everybody else left. Town hall, you put a generator on it, doesn't make sense. Stanley Cooper, we get our electric usually right back with the first leg. I've never seen it. Usually when people leave this town on a hurricane, you're not gonna be back in here for 3 days. I've been through Hurricane Sandy, been through that. That's the least of your problems. Shutters on the windows, if you guys need shutters on the windows of that building, you don't have to worry about this side of 17. Because that's the least of your problems. Shutters only stop from flying objects from hitting the windows. So unless you're surrounded with objects, so they're gonna hit the windows, that's the only difference this shutters are gonna make for you. But the real point I'm trying to make is we came here for a reason to help public safety and to bring on more firefighters. And then we talk about putting new carpet in the building, shutters and generators. Again, this is excessive spending. We're living above our means here. We're used to the old days of giving out, Christmas gifts and all these great things. That's when we had a lot of money in the budget. Now it seems we don't. So carefully go about this and start making some hardcore cuts. Start looking at personnel, what positions that we have. You guys don't even have the stuff that you have in front of you. You don't have a budget, line to line budget, but you should have. Each director should be going to their budget and getting rid of some of these line items in there and come back at you with different numbers. Just my opinion. You guys have accounted. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ron Ott, Douglas Avenue, Illinois. One of the shockers I got today was we're losing that ambulance. And if you got a loved one laying on the floor, you want to see those legs coming at you because they got a doctor in there too. And for decades, we've been getting this for free from Warren County, actually. They just park it in there, but we need it. And we talk about the police. We don't need them until we need them. And something for decades I've been here and I haven't had a call. But on Super Bowl Sunday at 9:15, I got a doorbell rung. And I went over there and there's this guy, and he's got a piece of paper saying, you need to see this, read this. Well, you know what he did? When I said, no, and it said Trump, I said, I don't vote. Go away. He broke my door trying to get in because he had other people there too. He was coming in my house. I took the phone, I called up the police station. They were there within minutes. I saw that two officers on foot and two police cars coming. They didn't find them, but you know what? They're still out there. I've never needed to have a policeman here, but when you need them, we need them. Because I don't know what they would have done if they would have got in my house. I never brought it up, never told anybody, because it's not a good sign for the town to hear that we do have these things that happen here. And that policeman, he knows there's crazy people out there. Anybody that worked in law enforcement knows. I don't know. I worked in the auto industry. They were all crazy. So, but these things, we can't cut them out of the budget. We do need them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, we're gonna move in there. I will say, I called about that guy too, because I saw him at Super Bowl Sunday, and the chief and I talked, so. Not me. But anyway, we will now move into chapter 4, so Director Gruber, I think you're gonna lead this discussion. Chapter 4, chapter 2, yeah, chapter 4 first. It's way in the back. Yeah.
Yeah, it starts on page 20.
Oh, there we go.
I don't have a computer guide.
Died.
It doesn't have a good charge.
I gotta give you the whole check.
Well, get on back to, 33. Go to the back. I'm 33.
26.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's what you get all the way back to.
Yes, okay. It was watching the Super Bowl and it was halftime and they were trying to cross the streets.
Good job. Go to page 26.
Yeah. Express life.
Can't read that fast.
So we're gonna change it out.
There you go.
Got up.
It's only halfway.
Yeah, you only have to, but you gotta go. Keep going,
26.
so slow down,
Getting close, getting
a little
close.
faster, you're almost there.
Warmer.
More.
Warmer.
There we
go.
All right.
Hey.
So this change for 4-92 is for the permitted use of hospitality funds. It's to take out what we currently had and just state that we will be using it for the purposes according to the provision of South Carolina Code 6-1-730.
That's verbatim, right from.
State law.
Correct, right from state law.
Okay.
So this A and B here, we will not be doing that. We're going to do state law. If it ever changes, we're already covered.
But we are going to show what A and B are. We're going to add that text in.
I believe the direction last meeting was to take that out and just have that according to state law.
Okay, but it hasn't been,
Yeah.
read. I mean, it wasn't struck through.
No, I thought we were just keeping it, because it was state law, it actually spelled out what we were going to do. I mean, there was some discussion.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I mean,
Right.
the point is if state law changes, then we need to go and change this, even though we aren't doing anything different. But I don't necessarily want to push everybody to go look up the state law to read it. So,
Yeah, either way is fine.
yeah. So I was okay with that, but that was just the one point I remember making. I don't know about anybody else.
Well, yeah, the rest is spelled out exactly. And
So we need a motion.
Well, there's, if you go to page 31, page 31, where it mentioned including the floral clubhouse, all that was struck through. So page 31, 32, and 33. 33 with the 4-148 was actually back when COVID was around. We talked about 6 people or less. Anything dealing with the floral clubhouse has been removed, or struck through.
So really, all we're saying here, we don't need a motion. We're just, if we think this is okay, then we can bring it for a first
We'll
reading.
bring for the first reading on May 14th.
Okay.
So it's adding in the state verbiage
correct.
and then striking out all of the stuff and specifically the floral clubhouse and anything related to the COVID additions. And that's really all it is.
That's it for this one.
And then,
Put this back there.
what page is that one?
This is the one that Jerry just said, page 31. That was the first one. he
Oh,
pointed out.
okay. That's good. Yeah. Okay, but now we're striking through the whole section. Is that what you're saying?
Okay,
No, that's the old one.
no, what you have in front of you is the most revised one.
Okay.
That's
That's the
correct.
previous way we had it.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, so this is indicating you're striking through
This is
the
apparently not the
potential
right
revision.
file. Do you have the updated file?
but what you have in front of you is the update,
Okay,
is the most update, which just has the floor clubhouse structure.
okay.
Yes,
All the rest of it stays the same.
yes, sir.
Really large rooms and all that rentals, leases or.
All right, is there any discussion on this?
I just got one question.
Okay. Mr. Coleman?
Which you took out nonprofit organizations, but you still have it on the one-time rental schedules, nonprofit organizations. Shouldn't that have been struck out also?
Which page, Mr. Coleman?
Well, it's, you have the chart, one-time rental schedules on page 31. Right, you have, it says on the last.
Yes,
line,
sir.
nonprofit,
Okay.
And then you have that whole paragraph about nonprofits you took out.
So we'll just strike through on page 31. Is that what you're saying? Yes. Yeah, the strike through on 32, you want me to strike through on 31, just the one line.
Yeah, because
Right.
you strike out, nonprofit can get it for $10.
Right, so we need to
So-
strike through.
You should have it on 31, because it said $10.
Correct, yes, sir.
On sections 147 and 148, if we're striking out those whole sections, I think we should also strike out the references to ordinances, right?
Say that again?
Bottom.
Do you keep the
Bottom
orders
of each
in,
paragraph.
even though you're striking
Yeah.
through the,
The reserve, you mean?
no, where it's got the ordinance where it was actually created? Do you keep that or you strike through that as well? It's a reference.
Unicode puts that in. We don't put that in. So I think when they do an update, I think they change that.
Okay, it'll come out automatically?
Yeah,
Okay,
they'll
Okay.
change that. They'll put the last revision.
yeah, because I mean, a reference to an ordinance where there's no section would be pretty meaningless. Be very confusing, so, okay. It should come out automatically, so we'll let it go, all right. Any other discussion on chapter 4? Okay, then I think we're just ready for Administrator Vincent to bring that back for a first reading. And now we're moving on to chapter 2, we're ready?
This is the. Mhm. The town cars. That was supposed to be taken out.
Yeah, mine is.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Mayor, yeah, you've got the most revised chapter 2. And I'm sorry, we don't have the most revised on my thumb drive. So we can start with page 3, it talks about expense reimbursement. And this is about town council members, out-of-town reimbursement. I know there's been some questions to just have a flat one, flat fee for the day without breaking it down by breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And going about it that way, keeping the fact that we don't need receipts, we're gonna pay your out-of-town travel in advance. So I know we've heard a couple different ways.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Stamey?
I was one of the people that went and talked to them about this, and I think it would be a better idea. Personally, it don't have to be $75, we can come up with something else. But I think it would be better if we just done a daily fee, whatever that, if we're gonna be gone 2 days, you get paid for 2 days of meal, whether it's $75 or $65, whatever it has to be, just pay that as a one-time fee and not worry about if you've ate breakfast or if you ate dinner, or if you want to spend it all on dinner, however you want to do it, it would just be, get that money. I think that's better than them trying to go and saying, the hotel's feeding you dinner, so we're gonna mark off $25 for your dinner, so, or lunch. That's $25. You might wanna go out and have a good dinner and spend some of that money on that, or have a decent breakfast. And this cuts out us returning receipts to the finance department.
All right. Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Shaw?
I think it needs, if a trip requires you not to leave until the afternoon, why are we paying people extra money to have breakfast? I think the breakdown is the right way to go. State does this, federal does this. It's better to control your money. I don't buy $100 steak at home. So I think saving up your money to have a big, nice dinner on the town is wrong.
All right, any other comments? So we've got two divergent opinions.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, can I make a motion?
Sure.
I make a motion that we keep it this way, the breakdown of the meals, so we can watch our spending. If you're supposed to be, the motion is to keep it the way it is.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Kinkin?
currently, we just turn in expenses. So it has nothing to do with this. So is she saying keep it, breakfast $15, lunch 25, dinner 35, or is she saying keep it the way it is where we just turn in the expenses at the end of the trip?
I'm interpreting it as keeping it in this red line form, which says
Okay.
you need an itemized receipt. And, yeah, well, but I'm saying what my interpretation is. Meals are based on an established per diem, so you've got an extra check in there. $15 for breakfast, 25 for lunch, and 35 for dinner, 75 total. So you can't, the way this is written, if you spend $10 on breakfast, you cannot spend $30 on lunch. That's how I interpret it. How is it interpreted?
That is correct.
Okay. So because why would you put 15, 25, and 35 if that was not an additional requirement? So you're hitting 75 total, you're hitting 15 for breakfast, you're hitting 25 for lunch, you're hitting 35 for dinner, and you need an itemized receipt for each one of these things. That's the way it's written. Official travel expenses with an itemized receipt will be reimbursed. That's what it says. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It says the total per diem 75 per day does not require receipts.
Okay. Then I think we need to strike out that first sentence.
What's the first one?
In second paragraph, official travel expenses with an itemized receipt will be reimbursed.
Where's that?
the first sentence of the second paragraph in B, right under all the red, that one, right where you're pointing.
I think that's not for,
That wasn't for,
that's not for meals, that's for,
that's for other items.
airfare, train fare, stuff
Okay.
like that.
Or gas for the
Rental
town
car
car.
fees and stuff like that.
Coach or economy class.
Yeah, I think later on it gets into per diem per day.
I would suggest we had a not including meals to make it clear to people
Okay,
like me.
okay.
I get it now, I do.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Coleman?
I would prefer $75 for the day instead of breaking it down for a meal. Because if I don't eat breakfast and I want to go for a big lunch, you know, if I'm there, I should be able to spend $40 if I wanted to for lunch. It's not taking anything away, but if, of course, if I'm getting fed at the convention, then I shouldn't get the $25. And if I'm not gonna be there, I don't get the whole day. If I have to be there for, say, Tuesday and it's Monday, and I travel on Monday, I only have to be there when you can check in at 4, so I only should get dinner. I shouldn't be getting breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Is that the, what's intended when you put the 15, 25, 35 to try to say if it's halfway through?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it that way though. So if I'm only going later on in the day, I only get $35. I don't,
Correct.
but if I'm there the next day and I don't get lunch from the training, and I don't eat breakfast, so I eat breakfast for $2 and then I want a bigger lunch, I can get a bigger lunch. It's only gonna be $75.
Well, if you were gonna be there for breakfast, lunch, and, lunch, you would get those too. That is given to you because you will be there during those times. What you do with it at that point, it's up to you. So if you didn't eat breakfast and you had that little bit of savings,
Right, I mean, how would you know if I had a $10 lunch and then I put it to my, a $10 breakfast, put it onto my lunch, you wouldn't know that.
correct?
The only thing
They don't want
it's
it.
for is the day that I leave or the day I come, that I'm only gonna get a certain amount of money. I agree with that.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Wallace?
And under the current scenario, I will just say to this council, I'll just speak, though I don't expense my meals, that's just my personal preference, you know that. But I would say this would save you money because, you know, I went out one night for a really nice dinner and it was over $100. So, but I didn't expense it, but I guess under the existing, I guess I could. And then at least you would have this to go against and say, nope, can't give you a 75 on that meal, right? But now I can manage that.
Correct.
So I like it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Stamey?
I'm still lost. I'm still out of left field. Yeah, but I've been there. I've been there all my life. So you're saying what we're doing right now, if we're gonna be gone 2 days, you're gonna give me $150?
Depending on the time that you leave and the time that you
Well,
return.
I'm not asking you about the time I'm leaving. I'm asking you on the days that if I have a conference for 2 days, you're gonna give me $150. Whether I'm getting a meal at that hotel, whether I'm not getting a meal.
Now, if there's meal included with your registration, with whoever you're attending, then you do not get it.
So that's back to your question that you said, if you eat breakfast and had the $5 left for breakfast, then if you got the meal at lunch for the $25, you'd only have $5 to put the $35 in the afternoon. So you don't have, that ain't going to be a guaranteed money that you said that you could go eat 2 meals.
So, Mayor, if I go to a conference or something, and they give me lunch, I'm not getting the 25. I'm gonna get $50.
Correct.
And I can spend it anywhere I want. I can have a lavish breakfast, for $50, and then dinner, I'm on my own.
Yes.
But I'm not, so that's basically right, so I'm in right here.
Because I do sign you up for your conferences and stuff. those itineraries do tell us whether they serve breakfast and lunch. That's how they're gonna know to not give you lunch money or not give you breakfast money.
Right.
So it's, I just wanted to say that. 'cause
But
That's
in
right.
that, in that case, they do provide in the morning usually a croissant or something for breakfast. Is you gonna consider that as breakfast?
Yeah.
Yes,
So if they give us a piece of bread, that's considered as breakfast.
but they don't give a piece of bread. They
Well,
give
yeah,
bagels, they
well,
give Danish, they give, you
There
know,
are
I
times
guess they
when I
look at
would
it,
eat
they're
it
not
real
there to
breakfast,
sustain
but-
you, they're there to give you something to tide you over until lunch, when they do provide lunch, I guess. No?
Yeah. This past time he did.
That's my experience with my classes.
No, I get what you're saying. They do a continental breakfast, I
Yes.
guess.
I guess,
You know, and that's not my style, but I guess I'll live with
Mine
it.
either.
I guess I'll live with it for a couple of bucks or whatever. So I think right now, we've got the first paragraph being changed to say we're gonna pay up front with a town credit card, and then otherwise only the unexpected charges, which we discussed last time. We're taking out the $100 and changing it to 75 with a breakdown, which will be used primarily to, with the last sentence about the established times. You know, that you don't get a breakfast if you're not leaving till 10 o'clock in the morning. Let's say, you might get lunch on the road, but you've had time to have breakfast at your own house, or whatever. I don't know exactly how you'll set the times, but, all right. And then, again, the per diems only apply when meals are provided. Otherwise, we do have flexibility to use the $75, however, and no receipts for any of this stuff. Okay, so that kind of summarizes, that's where it is today. And I think if you read the whole thing, I jumped ahead a little bit, but I think you do figure it out. So I think the verbiage is clear enough. Any other comments on this section?
Do we have a motion on the table?
Well, we're correct, we do, to accept it as
For this
written.
section?
And that's kind of what I was trying to get to that, say, this is what I'm reading it as. I don't know if everybody else does. But, okay, any other comments on this section? All right, then, Ms. Medina?
Ms. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Kinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Krecklo,
Yes.
Mr. Stamey,
Yes.
Mr. Walls,
Yeah.
Mayor Kraus.
Yes, it's a motion passed unanimously. We'll move on.
So, Mr. Mayor and Council, the next page is page 4. And this was added in by Mr. Farrell.
You want to talk about it? You want to make a motion? What do you want to do?
I guess I could make,
Go ahead, as well.
come on
I'm
out.
good, I'm good, I heard it.
Well, I don't want to read it whole.
We're going to just make a motion to accept it as written.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we accept section 2-21 of,
Can we scroll up to
Article
everybody?
2
Helen, can we scroll up to?
as
I
amended.
don't, this is not the revised
Oh, it's not-
version.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think that
This
would-
is last time's.
But I think it was in the last one.
It's not in your packet?
It is, but I just thought for
okay.
everybody else to
Okay.
see.
There it is. Right there.
No, that's the
Yeah, it's
old,
not in
that's the
there.
old.
No, it's not in
No,
there
this
because
was
that's where
after.
verbiage was.
Okay. All right, well, you still don't need to read it. I didn't, yeah. Okay, all right, so Mr. Kreckler has made the motion to accept it as written.
I'll second it.
We have a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Coleman?
why did we change, 30 days is a long time. You come back from something and you go away and come back in 2 weeks. You're gonna,
He's a very
I
competent.
thought we already did that.
Oh, yeah, that part, we didn't actually discuss all that, but it was all in the the other section.
I thought that was-
Yeah. Yeah, we did not specifically discuss that because we didn't turn, at least I didn't turn a page, but we basically have accepted that. And it's 10 days now, so.
Well, it's only for unexpected itemized receipts. I mean, typically, you're not gonna have receipts unless it's an emergency.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem.
So we're talking about section 221, election and duties of mayor. We have a motion to accept this section as revised and seconded. And so is there any other discussion on this? All right, I'll start it then. Philosophically, it's, the first paragraph is a little editorial.
Come on.
The second paragraph is, I mean, we can't direct appointments or reinstatements, but I don't know that requesting is necessarily a bad thing if we thought somebody should come back for some reason. I understand that creates a lot of angst for some people, but I don't know that that's necessarily bad. Requesting a removal, I do think I'm okay with that. Leaving it as is. Disciplinary action, again, there's times that we're supposed to get into disciplinary action. It's part of our role that, to address, I don't have the wording right here in front of me, it's probably in this section somewhere, about, not singularly, no, but, well, I actually, qualifications, term, oath. I don't see it, but I know we have to look into, oh, okay. Here it is this is emergency management, it's close to that, I think. Duties of the mayor. This is, oh, okay, right above, I'm sorry. The mayor shall ensure that all negligence, carelessness, and positive violations of duty of any council member or employee of the town is investigated and the proper remedial measures are taken. And then it goes right down and says that you can't direct or request any disciplinary actions be taken against an employee. So it kind of contradicts the part above, or at least indirectly does. Or in any way countermand any disciplinary actions, okay. At the discretion of town administrator, that's probably okay. Town council should be consulted before any appointment, reinstatement, removal, or disciplinary action is taken. Okay, I think consulting is good. And then, everything else, except for the purpose of the inquiry, the mayor and any council member shall address any concern or suggestion for the administrative service solely to the town administrator. I'm okay with that. The council member, including the mayor, shall give orders to any subordinate. I'm okay with that. Or circumvent any orders. I'm okay with that. Nor shall the mayor or any council member address or suggest any actions to be taken by the town administrator or subordinates that would countermand the majority vote council. I'm okay with that. So, like I said, it's the paragraphs, the first two. The first one is kind of editorial to me. The second one, there's some things I don't think are quite right in there. So that's just my summary comments. Well, I'm trying to invite more discussion.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Coleman.
so the problem you have is the request was taken out. So second paragraph, neither any councilman nor the mayor shall direct or request. If we took out direct, would you be right?
I definitely think it should not be directing.
Right, we don't direct, but we should be able to request.
On an individual basis?
Consideration.
Right,
Yes.
yeah, requesting as, not like telling them you have to do it, just say, can you look into it, you know?
I realize this could be interpreted as, I have a buddy that I would like to have installed as, the assistant administrator. So can you do that? And obviously, we don't want that. But, but if we know somebody who would be good for a position, we should at least be able to bring that person for consideration.
What about recommend?
I guess if you just took out shall direct, or just took out the or request, I mean,
Take out the directive all.
because request is, you're getting close to recommending, and I think that is okay.
I agree.
So may request?
So I would, neither any council member nor the mayor shall direct the appointment or reinstatement of any person. So just take out the or request.
Direct or.
That's how I would work it.
Yeah. Same thing for every one of them.
So you're removing direct and request?
No.
Just or request.
Just
The
direct.
or, yes.
Direct or.
Leave the request there.
That sounds like, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, that sounds like we could tell them,
Yeah. careful how you do that.
I don't think we have the authority to tell them anything.
Well,
Request sounds better to me than direct.
we're saying neither any council member nor the mayor shall direct the appointment. So you're
Okay.
saying you
You
can't
only
do
direct
that.
him. You
Yeah,
shall not direct.
and I'm sorry, taking out the or request.
Right.
Because you're saying they cannot direct the appointment, they cannot direct.
You should be
Okay.
able to
So the
request.
or request, I think, is okay. I think it's okay to remove it, because I think you can do it.
Neither any councilman nor the mayor shall direct.
Correct that.
Yeah, so it would now read, neither any council member nor the mayor
So
shall
we
direct.
shall request. Okay. I get it.
Well, you just don't say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Neither the,
There's order from somebody.
so it would read, neither any council member nor the mayor shall direct the appointment or reinstatement of any person, direct the removal of any person from a position, direct any disciplinary actions to be taken against an employee, or for, we kind of, yeah. And I think 4 stays okay.
Yeah, I think 1, 2, 3, just scratch direct.
And then in case there's, little lack of clarity there, however, the town council shall be consulted before any appointment, reinstatement, removal, or disciplinary action is taken that affects department head. I think that helps keep it together. Council's going to be involved in this stuff. I mean, I realize you're specifically talking about department heads here, and the other is any person. But I don't know if you were trying to draw a distinction there, Mr. Crockwell.
Well,
No. Okay. Should we strike department head then, or? Well, we don't get into appointments and reinstatements of employees.
No, correct.
So that's why you have department head in. So, okay, it can probably stay. And then the last paragraph, I think I was okay with that pretty much, except. Yeah, I think that's all okay. I think the third paragraph. And the first one, as I said, the first paragraph is a little bit editorial, but it introduces the subject, so I won't quibble. Any more than I already have. Any other comments on this section? All right, we can move on.
You got a vote?
You got a vote?
Oh, that's right, we have a motion for that one. We actually have a motion, yes. Okay, yeah, so I am going to amend the motion to take out or request 3 times in the second paragraph. And I've already read it, so you really don't want me to read it again, right?
He's taking out.
Wait.
He's taking out. both.
Taking out or request.
I thought we were just taking out.
I thought we were, the mayor shall request.
No, nobody shall do anything. It's neither any council member or the mayor shall direct. You cannot direct the appointment or reinstatement. You cannot direct the removal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we clear on what the amended motion is now? I need a second.
I'll second that.
All right, we have Mr. Kinkin second. Is there any other discussion? Ms. Medina?
Ms. Fallon,
Yes, please.
Mr. Kinkin.
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Crickwell,
Yes.
Mr. Stamey.
Yes.
Mr. Wall,
Yes.
Mayor Crafton.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. We're now moving on to Division 2 meetings.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, on page 5, you'll see under 2-36, time of meetings, all we've done is indicated that we don't meet at town hall. We meet within the council chambers located at Dick M. Johnson Civic Center. And we've changed the time from 6:30 to 6 PM for both meetings.
Do we want to make a motion here or just, we've kind of accepted this before?
Right.
Mr. Mayor, we're gonna have to basically vote on this
As a reading.
as a reading
Right, right.
eventually anyway, so I say we don't have.
Yeah, unless there's any comments on that.
Right,
we can
just to change.
Okay, Mr. Coleman has a
There
comment.
is so much red ink in this.
Why don't we just take out located at the Dick Johnson Civic Center?
And just leave council chambers as a
Yeah.
generic term?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that,
I
actually.
mean, it's not a big thing, but this means if it happens somewhere else, we don't have to change it again.
No, you're right. I was thinking that as I read it.
I just
You want
know
to complain?
one comment I wrote, I think it was a couple that came up and said, we want the name in there, the name of the civic center. So that's why I put it in there.
We'll do it.
There were citizens that made that comment.
We'll do it from the thing.
I'm not, it's not a big deal to me.
Not a big deal to me
Not
either.
either.
Let's just leave it.
Will it be the Civic Center we do it in, or we do it at the council?
We'll have to
can name any
change it.
place.
We'll have to change it when we get a new building.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Which the way we're going will be not us.
I just see the future, they'll be sitting around.
I've got to leave tomorrow.
We're trying to work through this. Okay, section 239, agenda and order proceedings. We're just changing, to get everything by Wednesday at 5 PM on the agenda.
Right, I mean, that's the way it happens now.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need any further comment. Moving along. Recognition of speakers, we took out the rising in order, which comes out of Robert's rules. And then
But you,
Okay.
in the next
now it's a big one.
sentence, it's got, if several council members rise about the same time, well, it should take rise out,
Yes,
say
yes,
speak.
that too.
The mayor shall decide who speaks first. Well,
Yeah.
So addressed, we're using the term addressed, the mayor when addressed by a council member. So if several council members address,
About the same time.
yes, at the
Okay.
same time.
That's good.
Now we have, I think this is more Mr. Precklow's additions after that. This might take a little work, so should we just take a motion to accept this as written? You want to do that again?
I make a motion that we accept the changes to chapter 2, section 2-41, recognition of speakers. It's basically just, I don't know how to recognize, I guess I'll read it. When a measure before the town
You need a
council.
second.
I'm sorry, what?
No, he's trying to read, I don't think you have to read it. We can just
Okay.
accept it as written.
All right.
It'll be fine.
Okay, and then I make the motion that we accept it
That's written.
as written.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now, we can have discussion on this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Coleman?
it's like deja vu all over again.
Yeah.
It says if several council members want to speak, and then it says that again, when two or more council members wish to speak. So it says it in the second paragraph, and then it says in the fourth paragraph,
Okay.
right?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Precklow?
I believe when I wrote this, I actually wrote it as a replacement for the first two paragraphs is why it does say it down there. But yes, you're correct, Harry. It does repeat itself, so I don't have a problem with taking out when two or more council members wish to speak.
Or should we amend the motion to make this a replacement? Because we have to deal with that other sentence
Right.
that says rising at the
Anyway.
same time.
So we would just strike 1 and 2?
So, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna make an amended motion to take the new text as a replacement of 241.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Now we can go on with discussion.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Coleman,
so you want to use paragraph 4 and place it as a sentence, the first sentence of paragraph 2?
no, we're gonna cross out all the stuff in black, including the red strike through, and we're just gonna start.
Because I don't think we have it, nothing says in the, on the second sentence of paragraph 2, no councilman shall speak more than twice in the same question except to explain without the consent of the town council. I don't, I'm reading it quick, but I don't see it.
It says down at the bottom.
Okay, there you go.
Very
It's there.
nice. See.
Okay, yeah,
I didn't
okay.
get that.
No count.
All right, and actually, we're gonna get in trouble. Remember, notice there's one more on the other page. We're gonna mess that up again if we turn the page.
We'll just eliminate the first 2 paragraphs, you're saying.
Yes, so then we replace with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs of red text. That's the motion on the table now. Yes, and it's been seconded, so that's what we're discussing. So,
It's not a workshop.
huh?
This is not a
Oh.
workshop.
No, this is a special meeting, yes. Yes.
That was not told to anybody?
It's on the agenda, but they're in the back.
It was out there for 2 weeks? That's the, it's supposed to, yeah.
It don't have to be out 2 weeks. We have a 24-hour requirement to notice. It's on the agenda back there and it's been on the website since Thursday.
All right, we need to get back to order.
Yes, please, out.
So, yeah, okay, so, I'll just read this now. When a measure is before the town council for consideration, the mayor or the presiding officer, thereafter presiding officer, shall recognize the appropriate individual to present the case. Every member of the town council, when about to speak, shall address the mayor as Mr. Mayor, Madam Mayor, Ms. Mayor, or other appropriate formality applicable to the presiding officer. When 2 or more council members wish to speak, the presiding officer shall decide who shall speak first and recognize such council members in turn. No council member shall interrupt another that has the floor or while speaking, except to make a point of order. The presiding officer shall not be obligated to recognize any council member for a second comment on a subject or amendment until every council member wishing to speak has been allowed a first comment. No council member shall speak more than twice on any topic or question except to explain without the consent of the other council members present. And finally, all council members shall avoid all disrespect to the town council as a whole, individual council members, town employees, or town residents, whether direct or implied comment or statement. So I believe that is really a lot of it out of Robert's rules, kind of,
I was gonna say that.
you know,
That's all Robert's rules except for the last one.
and we already say we use Robert's rules, but recognition of speakers, we already had something in there, so, I don't know, I guess, again, I'm not gonna make a big deal about it, but I think we already require this by saying we use Robert's rules. So,
There wasn't.
any other comment?
Where are we at now?
Well, we're in discussion of this, so I just read it so everybody's clear. Any other comments on it?
Let's vote.
Got a vote?
All right, go ahead, and Ms. Medina.
Ms. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Kinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Cricklow,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Walls,
Yes.
Mayor Kraft.
Now I'll go with yes. Motion passes unanimously. Now we have some
Go back.
no markup pages. Looks like page 13. Okay, now we're back to travel.
This is for committee members,
Yeah, these
Oh,
are.
okay. You want to,
and it just refers you
It
back
just
to
refers you
ours,
to the same policy.
the
okay,
same policy.
all right. Do we need any discussion on that? Let's move it on. Committee chair shall contact appointed town council liaison. Yeah.
14.
14?
Yes, page 14O is a new, this one here, I think we were gonna have a meeting with a specific committee and liaison and, council or staff. So I would really like to hold off on this. So I guess I'd have to make a motion that we strike this out for now, or put it on hold, I guess, at this point.
Well, they can't get a first reading, we put it on hold. We
Yeah.
just strike it or leave it, right?
That's, yeah, well, I would strike it at this point, because I don't think we're ready to do this yet. I think we need to have a discussion on that.
I second that.
It's a big move, it's a bold move.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually made a motion, but yeah, I'm moving that we strike that section.
I thought
for
you
now.
did.
So maybe if I didn't, I'm doing it now, so.
I'll still second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. So I did it in my comment there, so I don't have to say anything more about it. Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. King?
actually, I think this has a lot of validity. And we have the committees that are required, and they usually have a direct contact with some staff member. I'm thinking of the planning commission. Usually that's headed by a staff member. I mean, the staff member actually presents the material. So the liaison doesn't have a chance to do this, but in my committee, I want them to come through me so I can go to town hall and not bypass me. I need to know what they're doing. And if they want something approved by the council, it should go through the administrator. It should go to me, go to the administrator. They present their what they want to do, and then it comes to council. I like using our liaisons as a go-between.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Wallace?
I actually sponsored this language, just because I think moving forward, it's gonna be better for us, at least in the near future, because we have a council and a mayor who are very supportive of committees and want as much involvement from the community as we can get. So having said that, we may end up adding more. There are a number of committees right now that I wanted to make, for one thing, the reason I brought it forward was because I'm basically in a situation right now where I sit for two committees. And I really don't know why I'm there. I attend all their meetings, but they really don't utilize me at all. So I wonder why I'm sitting there. So I got to thinking about that, and I've got to, well, okay, they serve at the pleasure of council. We've asked them to do something either in the short term or the long term to assist us with an area, because we can't be everywhere all the time doing all the things. So why has that council liaison been assigned? Well, yeah, I think it's probably, and then I started thinking about really the way Bill honestly works with the parking committee, and that's why I basically approached Jerry and the mayor, because all those revisions that you all did to that section went, I thought, really smoothly, because you were involved, you helped to sponsor it, you were able to help them make the presentation before council. So anyway, that's me making a long story short, but I think that this process would help without taxing or overburdening any certain areas, because a lot of committees right now are going to John Adair. John doesn't mind, but it's a lot. And if we end up growing these committees anymore, it could end up burdening we asked them to help us, the council. We didn't want to assign work to sometimes an already overtaxed town staff. So, and with them going directly to, I just thought this should be the proper way that they should involve us. We should go with them to present to town, and Jerry to help us logistically through however it might work with town and so forth, to come up with a really good, solid, quality recommendation for council to consider. So I thought this process might help the whole process work better. Sorry to say that. But that's why.
Mr. Coleman.
I haven't been a chairman of a committee for too many years that I want to admit. I agree with what Mr. Lowell just said, but the flip side of it is, I've already had a liaison who, because he didn't agree with what the committee wanted to do, he refused to bring it to the town administrator. So that's the flip side of it. So I don't want the liaison to have too much power. It's not, I don't believe that's the way it's supposed to work. The way it's supposed to work is we give recommendations to the administrator. The administrator can agree with it or not agree with it. He can put his own spin on it. And then it's presented to council to decide what they're gonna do. Not the liaison, put that step in there, and I don't know exactly, it leans towards that you have to go through liaison. Because if you have a bad liaison not a bad, but a liaison that doesn't agree with you and doesn't want to do what the committee wants to do, then it ends right there with liaison. And I don't think the liaison should have that power. That's the power of the council should have. Administrator shouldn't have that power. He should be able to put his spin on it, his recommendations, and liaison, and believe me, this is, honestly, I'm not lying to you, this happened numerous times on my committee. And not with Mr. Kinkin, it was another liaison. Mr. Kinkin was very nice and did everything we needed to do. Honestly.
Thank you, Eric.
We were all reading between the lines, Eric.
I'll pay you later.
I'll pay you later.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Stanley.
I do agree with Harry on this. I think that, it's a liaison. You're just there to take questions from your staff, from the people you're working with. If they have a problem or if they need some help, I think that the liaison has the right to, if they will, come to the liaison and come to Jerry and try to get something worked out. But just to give them the power, the liaison, to make it to where they have to come to them before they get to council. I'm with him on what he's saying. I just think the verbiage of the sentence needs to be changed around a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna add that, some things people have already touched on. Yvette Hellier was in here last time talking about her relationship with John Adair on the Stormwater Committee. And, they've been working together fairly long and it's direct. Actually, in that case, we're almost left out. And even though the committee works for us as an extension of council, this specific issue that Mr. Walsh discussed is relative to the peer committee. I think everybody knows that. I would like to see the liaison role be more proactive as a facilitator, but I question this language. And again, we haven't had that meeting where we've discussed, and how does a committee advance stuff, when the administrative staff may not be in favor of it. And, how can the liaison help with that without being the funnel point, I guess. That's the way I'm looking at it. So I just want to have that meeting before we would move ahead with this. I realize that means we bring this back or we hold off on chapter 2 for now, but I just think this item, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Well, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Walsh.
Just one point of clarification. It was never to give anybody any more power. I just honestly, sincerely, I just wanted to be more involved in the process and try to perhaps I don't even want to say control, but I wanted to be involved in the process of presentation and helping. I wanted to help the committee in helping them get through the process to come up with a good quality recommendation for council. That's all. And it just seems like as their committee liaison, I really could or could not be, it's like the mayor said, involved at all. They just go over and around and through but I understand there can be bad liaisons and that's not a good thing. So, yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Stanley.
I'm on board with some kind of language to get this done. I don't know that, the way it sounds right here, it sounds like that they've got to go to the liaison. that ain't,
Shall con, yeah, okay.
yeah, that's, to me, that's the way the language sounds right now. I'm on the stormwater committee with Obed and them, and John does work with them, but we have a problem where we needed a town person to be at one of our meetings. And as I told the vet at that time, I said, if you want me to, I can go to Mr. Vincent and see if I can't get you some help with getting that person to our meeting. So them kind of things I can see where it works out really well, but just for her to have to give me information before she even talks to John would not be good. You know, that's just.
I know, I get it.
This is good. I know where you're coming from. And I just, we get some more verbiage in it.
Let's just strike it.
Yeah, like I say, for me right now, I don't think we're ready, and I'd like to have that meeting first. I don't know what language we put in at this point,
Pick it up.
so we can always put it
So we
back
can
in.
move
later.
forward with the rest of it. Let's
Yeah.
just-
So we have a motion and a second, so we'll need to have a vote. Is there any other discussion before we do that? All right, so the motion is to strike this out. This paragraph O. All right, Ms. Medina?
Better verbiage.
Ms. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Kinkin,
No.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Kreckle,
Yes.
Mr. Stamey,
Yes.
Mr. Walls,
Yes.
Mayor Kraus.
Yes, motion carries 6-1. I know that was hard to skip, but.
Hey, well, but you're right, it needs to be.
We can always come back. We can always come back. All right, looks like we're on page 28.
No, sir. Page 18?
18.
18. Where was? Did I skip one?
I don't know, there's quite a few between eight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gosh, I must have turned two at once, and that was the next one I saw.
And
Yes,
there-
it was wishful thinking.
There was
So-
no changes to this, so this is in there, that was in there last time. It just says any adjustments to the town administrator's salary shall be approved by town council.
Yeah.
On page 19, under F, I believe I got some comments that indicated that when it comes to interim department heads, so you see the word, the town administrator shall recommend department heads, including interim, to the town council and appoint a department director or other department head, including interim, upon approval by council. And then the other language did not change whatsoever at all. About, the town administrator may allocate raises, that is actually budgeted in the fiscal year after approval of council, so that was added in. And the allocation of pay raises shall not be more than 5% increase or more than 5,000 per fiscal year. The pay raise shall not exceed the maximum pay listed for the pay scale unless otherwise approved by town council. So that's the language.
Okay, and yeah, and I think we wrestled with that one fairly lengthy. I don't think we need anything else unless somebody has an issue with this. All right, let's move on.
You already wore this one.
Yeah, we did that last time. So it's just reflecting our changes.
Under
Oh,
page
20, right?
23. Oh, well,
20?
20 is got.
Required necessary
One word.
striking
Yeah.
or required?
That's necessary.
That's no.
Okay.
Which means, planning commission, we have Andy, who's our fill-in for the planning commission that records the minutes. And so Sherry's not required to be there. Is that necessary? And it also talks about committees and boards as well.
Okay. I don't think that's a problem. Anybody? All right. Move on. Now where I was.
23,
Yeah.
I don't think this was mine. Laverne, was this one of yours?
Yeah.
That was mine.
Okay.
And I think we discussed this one at some length before too. So we're really just trying to quantify what we call a major revision, with major or minor in a first or second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Crackle.
basically our town attorney said that it was up to the council to decide what was a major or a minor change, and this just puts it in writing.
Yeah, so I think we discussed this at some length. Do we need any more discussion on it?
Well,
All right, Mr.
I
Crackle.
really think the town attorney, who is non-biased, should be the one to make the decision. He's got the facts in front of him. And the example that I thought of, it was going to be 4-3 no matter what happened. But he was the one that said it was a significant change, which according to our ordinance, we should have gone back and started over. And if you take a vote on it, it's going to be 4-3 in most cases. He's the one that should make that determination whether it's a major or significant change or not, because he's not affected by what happens. We are. So I'd like to leave that out, leave it the way it is.
I think I follow what you're saying. Basically, if, no matter what the vote is, 4-3, 5-2, whatever, the people who are in favor of the change are going to say it's not major.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay. Hopefully we have more integrity than that, but I understand what you're saying. And it is a dilemma. All right, we'll need a motion to go further on this. So you want to take that on, Mr. Kinkin?
I'd like to make a motion to strike the everything's in the red and make it say that the lawyer would just decide whether it was a major or minor amendment. Well, actually, he doesn't have to decide if it's made. He only has to decide if it's a significant or major change.
Right. All right, so we have a motion to take out the revised text and add in a statement that the attorney would be the one to make a decision on whether it's a major change. Is there a second?
I'm going to second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Just for discussion.
All right, well, we can start the discussion. So, go ahead, Ms. Shaw.
Mr. Mayor, the council gets voted in by the residents. The lawyer does not get voted in. He's an employee. I think we can get advice from the attorney, but I don't think the attorney should determine if it's minor, major, major, minor. I think it's up to the council to work as a team. Don't put it on somebody else as the lawyer, unless I'm understanding this wrong. So are you telling me that you're putting the power in the attorney's hands and taking it out of the council's hands?
I don't see it as a
ahead,
power
Mr.
grab. Excuse me.
That's all right.
Mr. Mayor, I do not see this as a power grab. I see it as a simple solution to a problem that's come up only once that I know of. And he knows, he's seen what we're proposing. He knows the law and he can give us, and you're right, he could give us just advice. Well, he did give us advice and we ignored it. And I think that that could still happen. But I think he's the one that needs to say it's a major adjustment.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Krecklau.
I'd like to say in most cases, it's probably just a subjective decision. So if we leave it up to one person, it's their decision to do it one way, whereas maybe the council would want to do it a different way. And if it is a 4-3 vote, so be it. That's what people kind of voted for. But that's the way I look at it.
Any other comments?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Walls?
I just, I'm just afraid that when it comes to the control of the ordinances of our towns, yeah, I would like to see it kept with council.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to say I am not in favor of turning over a decision to the attorney. Advice, yes. I was thinking the exact same thing as Ms. Sean was speaking. And it I would like to think that I have enough integrity that even if I want something, if we mark up paragraphs, I'll say it's major, and then it'll still take 2 more readings, and, you know, if you want to use the trivial terms, I would say I'd get my way anyway, but I'll wait the extra reading, it's not that big a deal. And if people, if it is 4-3 or whatever, it's gonna go that way, it's just gonna, whether it takes 2 readings or an extra. You know, the public has a chance to weigh in, so I think it's okay like this myself.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Kinkin?
this happened at the second reading and had to do with the budget, had to do with, we'd agreed on first reading all the way through the budget process that we were going to add 4 mills, increase taxes 4 mills to pay for the 4 people that we were going to add. We left the 4 people in, but at the second reading, they took out the 4 mills and passed it as a second reading. Whereas the ordinance says it should have gone back at the next meeting as first reading. But we didn't do it till the end of June. So there was pressure there, but it still ignored our ordinance. And that's why I think we have to make that decision. And I'm okay with the council doing it, but I really think it's better to have advice from somebody that's not invested in what we're deciding. Thank you.
All right. Well, and again, we can't ask for advice, but ultimately, I think the decision lies with council myself, so. Any other comment? No.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Stain.
Yes, I was on council when what Mr. Jenkins talked about, and I don't think that, how do I want to say it? I think we need the advice of the lawyers, really, but I do think it ought to be left up to council to vote on something like this.
Okay.
I don't know how we can keep it from happening when the attorney tells you something and you go against what the attorney says. That's my biggest thing about it. When you give it to the council to do.
Understood. All right, any other comment? All right, so we're voting, the motion is to remove this text and insert at the discretion of the attorney, basically, some language to that effect. So with that, Ms. Medina?
Ms. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Kinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
No.
Mr. Kreckloff,
No.
Mr. Stamey, Mr. Stamey,
Just a minute.
He's thinking.
I'm thinking. Yes.
Mr. Walls,
No.
Mayor Kraus.
No. So the motion fails 4-3. We will leave this text in as it is.
Motion was to take that out.
26, okay.
You voted.
You had, that's why I framed the question. Okay.
Thank you for doing that.
It is my
Because I
role.
was looking at it, I forgot where it got.
Yes.
You did. To
You
take
wanted
it
to,
out.
you wanted to put the attorney in. You voted opposite.
No, I
what
don't
you
want to
said.
go.
Well, that's
It failed.
That's
It failed,
okay.
But you voted.
Oh.
the
You
wrong
still get
way.
it.
You know, it's going on 5 hours.
I know.
mean, this
Yeah,
is
same
a
with
little
me.
much.
Pushing it, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Huh?
Yeah,
You guys have been pushing it.
We have.
So I made a mistake.
That's all right. It's all right.
good.
Still one.
You still got what you
You can
want.
ask to change your vote.
It,
Can I request to change my vote?
But we
not
we will have a
familiar
first and second reading.
Okay.
It's in there
and
anyway.
right, and it's, yeah,
And maybe it won't be 5 hours.
it won't be. I mean, this is why we don't do these in council meetings. Okay, We're taking, page 26, we're taking out parking meters and parking. Any comments on that? Capital Projects Fund. This is the one that we wrestled on this one quite a bit. So we've got it written now that we have to go up to $100,000 for beach renourishment. And or,
Yes, and the language is supposed to be in here. It should say up to 50,000 for the pier also.
okay,
Where'd you go? 50? Oh.
so
$50,000 shall be transferred.
shall be and or hospitality tax revenues upon completion of the pier, and it's self-sufficient, 50,000 shall be transferred.
It should
So-
say up
Up
to
to
50,000.
Okay, so this should be an up to, so we can't accept it as written here, we're gonna need a motion to include that already.
That's what they want. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was gonna just go by this if we agreed with what we said last
Yeah,
time.
We just say it's revised.
It's
But
gonna
we
have to be
can't.
revised.
Trying to keep this less than 5 hours, but, all right. And then we still have the cap in here, so go ahead, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we revise the language,
How about that we
under
accept,
capital,
Capital Projects Fund Item 7 as revised with the addition,
of is self-sufficient up to $50,000 shall be transferred from pier fund.
okay. We now have a motion to accept this as written.
I'll second
With
it.
the up to, we now have a second and we can start discussion. I just wanted to speak.
No, please.
Okay, any comments on this? I just want to say that we're no longer putting a minimum, it's up to 100. We discussed that last time. And, up to 50, but no minimum. And then we still have the cap in here at 1.25 for, for the beach renourishment. So any other comments, discussion? All right, then, Ms. Medina,
Ms. Fallon,
you're accepting the language as written with the up to
Yes,
included.
yes.
Mr. Kinkin.
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Kreckler.
Yes.
Mr. Stamey,
Yes.
Mr. Walls,
Yes.
Mayor Kraus.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Page 28, section 292,
Nothing's
190
changed
budget.
there from when we discussed it last time.
This was a big addition. You got this from Horry County, as I recalled, about,
Yeah.
kind of some guidelines.
Major?
Well, no, it's what we agreed to last time. We thought it was okay. Is there any discussion on this item? All right, then I don't think we'll need a motion for that. And we're done. All right, well, we're not done. We're done that section. Yeah, we're not done yet. So, we don't have any more public comment, but we do have an executive session, so I need a motion to adjourn the regular, well, you can read it real quick.
Yes, excuse me.
I'd like to make public comment.
Oh, we didn't put public comment on here.
Comment
You
on
carry
here.
on.
It's just a regular.
Town council.
It's a special
Held 2
meeting.
meetings.
It's a special meeting.
Yeah, it originally was a workshop.
It was going to
At the
be.
last
It was
meeting,
going
he
to be,
said,
yes.
we will have a workshop. And this became, God knows.
Okay,
and
hang on
the
a
people
second.
in town need
I'm
to
gonna,
know they weren't allowed
please
here.
hold it. I'm gonna ask council, can I get a motion to accept public comment at this point?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. State,
I make a motion that we accept public comments at this time.
I'll second that.
we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're now open for
Hey,
public comment. Go ahead.
I can't believe you stayed here this long.
I can't believe it either.
That's what you didn't want.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, look, this is not personal, but,
It looks that way.
Excuse me.
excuse me, I got the floor.
You do.
Okay, we started.
I And I shouldn't engage either, so.
Okay. Going back, a council member had made a comment about liaisons. And about you being on council, being the liaison for these committees and commissions. And some of the things that had happened when I was on council with being a liaison was, one of the committees or commissions were trying to push things that they were not able to do, okay? They were trying to do above what I was directed by the town administrator. They were operating above and beyond their appointment or employment. So I'll use for an example, the parking committee. They would try to push for moving violation, moving signs, no U-turns, speed increases. As a parking committee, you're operating under the scope of employment or employment at that point. That's the problem with the liaisons. When you have it, this is not intended against you, but I took that personally when you said that, because when I sat on council, I was a parking liaison. And what happened was the parking liaison was trying to they had good intentions of putting stuff on the agenda, but they were operating out of that scope of employment or employment. So that's what you gotta be careful with committees and councils. So I'd like to put that to rest. So when you go about this and you become liaisons, you gotta be careful what you present to council, because if it's way out of your scope of appointment, as I said, it's not gonna flow. It's not gonna go at all. So I want to be clear with that. Sum up the meeting, you guys did a great job. Honestly, you warmed me out, and then I respect all of you. And we're all trying to get along, we want this community to work great. We really want the best of Surfside Beach. We came here for a meeting, for a workshop on the fire department. Before you know it, it went deeper. 5 hours later, I didn't think I'd ever stay at a meeting again for 5 hours in my life. Well, I had respect for every one of you to do it. It's like, I sat up there, so I know what it's like. But I want to be clear too. I've been here long enough to tell you I've raised 2 kids here, okay? Where this town is spending above its means. Every year, for 10 years, I've been watching new equipment every year. Every time the budget comes out, I want 2 of these, I want 4 of these, I want 3 of these, okay? That's gotta stop. The bleeding has to stop. You gotta put the brakes on, okay? And no more spending. We have more apparatus, more equipment, but what we're missing is the one fire truck that we put in to over $200,000 to keep it as a secondary pumper, to keep that in place. This is when we kept our ISO 1 rating. That was the reason why we did that. Where that apparatus went is beyond me, because we put over $200,000 into it to keep that ISO 1 rating. So again, stop the bleeding, stop the spending. You're gonna have to make budget cuts, you gotta make them at the top. Yeah, the little things count too, but you gotta look at personnel. You gotta start downsizing, because now we're gonna drown. And you know what? The fear is gonna come. The county wants to take you over, trust me. They want that firehouse. That firehouse is way too big for this town. That could be split into a police department and a firehouse if we wanted to. Go to Myrtle's Inlet Firehouse, you ever see their firehouse? It gets flooded out. They gotta move the apparatus off the floor, and they gotta move it over the bridge. And again, thank you for hearing me out. I appreciate it. Again, it was no hard feelings. You guys wore me out, and I don't think I'm gonna come back for another full meeting, so. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a good day.
All right, thank you. All right. Any other public comment? Thank you. I now need a motion to exit the regular meeting. That's okay, go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn to executive session.
Adjourn regular meeting.
Motion to adjourn regular meeting and enter executive session pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act, section 30-4-70. A1, discussion of employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of an employee. Planning, building, and zoning in parentheses.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're now entering executive session. Thank you.
You gotta get out of your number.
Take a